Hello viewer, welcome for Business Studies Form 3. You can pass your questions, views or queries through our SMS 40007, our Facebook page Erimu TV, or our Twitter handle at Erimu_KE. Today we are going to look at supply, but before that, let's look at our last lesson preview. You are supposed to differentiate between the movement along a demand curve and shift in a demand curve. So you are supposed to say that movement along a demand curve is caused by changes in prices only, whereby if prices increases, the quantity demanded decreases, and if prices increases, the quantity demanded decreases. That is, if prices decreases, the quantity demanded increases. And therefore, you find that the demand curve does not change the position, but it moves along. It moves along. It only changes the position. On the other hand, shift in demand curve is caused by all other factors affecting demand apart from prices. And we went ahead and we explained that a shift towards the right indicates an increase in demand, whereas a shift towards the left shows a decrease in demand. And the factors, we also give examples of factors that would make the demand curve to shift towards the right, like increased consumers' income. And you also give examples also for the shift of the demand curve towards the left, for instance, decrease in population. And that is what you are supposed to say. So let's look at our objectives for the lesson. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to define the term supply, state and explain factors influencing supply, and you should also be able to come up with what we call a supply schedule. Now, how do you define the word supply? Supply is the quantity of a commodity that sellers, remember, whoever supplies the commodities are the sellers. So this is the quantity of commodities that sellers are willing and able to bring to the market for sale at the prevailing price over a given period of time. Note that suppliers supply more in the market when prices are high. Why? Because they want to make more profit. So when the prices are up there, they supply a lot of products into the market. Remember, they supply the product for resale. Now, let's now look at the factors that influence supply. And one of the factors is the price of the commodity. The price of the commodity. This one, if the prices in the market are high, you'll find that the quantity of commodity supplies are also high. So, the higher the price, the higher the quantity of commodity supplied. And the lower the prices, the lower the commodities supplied. So suppliers wishes supplying more when prices are up there. Remember, we are going to use the curve of we are going to come up with the supply curve, whereby we are going to have price on the y-axis and the commodity supplied on the x-axis, and you will see whether that applies. And from that, we are also going to come up with the law of supply. The other factor affecting our supply is the level of technology. And you find that if the producer improves his or her techniques of production, then the production or the output increases. So if one uses the right level of technology and up-to-date technology, the goods are produced at a faster rate. So if the goods produced are more, then the supply will increase, or more products are supplied in the market. And if one does not use the updated technology and uses expired machines to produce goods, find that few goods will be produced, and therefore the goods supplied will be less. The other factor is the availability of factors of production. Remember, we said that the factors of production include land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And production cannot take place without the four factors. So you find that if one factor is not available, that one affects the production negatively. So the output becomes less. But for supply to increase, one must make sure that all factors of production are readily available. So if all factors are readily available, production increases. Then therefore, that increases goods supplied. The other one is the future expectation of changes in price. Let's say, for instance, today, a packet of milk is retailing at 50 shillings. What would you do, you even as a viewer, if you rant that by tomorrow or from the day after tomorrow, the same packet will retail at, like 30 shillings. What will you do? For you, because you are demanding, you definitely demand less because by tomorrow, the price will go down. But now take that position as a supplier. And let's say if today milk is retailing at 50 shillings, what would you do if by tomorrow the price will drop? So as a supplier, you'll definitely have to supply more today because by tomorrow the prices are going to decrease. What if you would expect, or you've heard that from tomorrow the same packet of milk will not be retailing at 50, but it will be retailing at 80 shillings? What would you do? You'd supply less today. So you'll find that future expectations of changes in price will depend on if the prices are expected to decrease. And if they are expected to decrease, more goods will be supplied. But if the prices are expected to increase, you'll find that less goods will be supplied, awaiting for that time or for that day when the price will increase. The other factor is the government policy. And you find that if the government offers favorable policy, for instance, reduced tax, giving subsidies is the part of production cost that catered for by the government. This is whereby the government takes up some cash and gives to the producer. Now, if the government caters for some part of the production cost, what happens is that the price of that product goes down, or the cost of production decreases. And therefore, the producer is able to produce more and also lower the price. When the producer lowers the price because of subsidies, people demand more. And when people demand more, the producer will have to supply more because the demand is high. Remember, when you are looking at the law of demand, we said that the higher the price, the lower the demand. The lower the price, the higher the demand. So when government gives subsidies, people demand more because the price of the good will go down. Therefore, that increases supply. The other one is the cost of production. The other factor affecting supply is the cost of production. Now, the cost of production is the cost that the producer incurs in the process of manufacturing the product. So you find that if the cost of production is low, you find that it leads to high production. And when there is high production, find that supply increases. While high cost leads to low production. If the cost of production is very high, not much goods is produced. Therefore, that lowers supply. We continue with the factors affecting supply, and the other one is the prevailing weather conditions. And you find that sometimes weather can hinder supply of goods. For instance, bad weather, like during a rainy day, it becomes very difficult to supply goods to various destinations. Most especially, you look at the agricultural products. You find that they can be affected by bad weather. For instance, maybe if it was maize which was about to grow, you'd expect to that period to be a lot of sunshine, so as to dry the maize in preparation for the market for that maize. But if the weather changes and it starts raining, what happens is that maize gets spoiled, and therefore when it gets spoiled, they will not be the maize will not be supplied as per expected in the market. So find that supply will decrease. So that is how weather conditions can affect a supply. And now finally, let's now look at the ease of entry of farms in the industry. This is whereby farms can join in the production, and if it is easier for other farms to join in the production of a given product, what will happen is that the supply for that product will increase because it is being produced by many farms. On the other hand, if it is not easy for other farms to join in production of a product, supply will decrease, because it's only the only farm that is producing will continue to produce. Therefore, supply will remain low. But if there is easy in entry, you find that more goods will be produced. Let's now look at the supply schedule, and this refers to a table that represents the quantity of a commodity that a supplier is willing and able to supply to the market at a given price over a given period of time. So for it to be referred to as a supply schedule, it must be that the supplier is willing and is in a position or is able to supply the product to the market at a price that product is being sold at over a given period of time. And let's look at an example of a supply schedule. And from the supply schedule that you can see on your screen, look at the prices. The prices are increasing downwards from 4, 5, all the way up to 10. On the other hand, let's look at the supply. In this case, we are looking at oranges. Supply of oranges into the market. You'll find that when the price is at 4 shillings, the number of oranges supplied are 40. They increase as price is increasing. So when the price is at 10 shillings, you find that oranges supplied is 100. So from there we can say when the prices are high, supplier supplies more oranges to the market so as to realize more profit. Let's now look at a supply curve. From what we have seen that suppliers supply more to the market when the prices are high. So how would you expect the supply curve to look like? So a supply curve, first of all, shows the relationship between the quantity of a commodity supplied to the market and the corresponding price at a given period of time. So we usually plot the prices along the y-axis and the quantity supplied along the x-axis. So a supply curve looks like that. It slopes downwards from right to left. And for instance, there you can see the higher the price, the more the quantity supplied. So that is why the supply curve slopes downward from right to left. You can see the higher the price. If you draw that against the, if you plot a line from the y-axis, where we plot the price up to the curve, then downwards, you'll see as price increases, quantity supplied is also increasing, and if price decreases, quantity supplied also decreases. And it's from that now we come up with the law of supply. And the law of supply states that the higher the price of a commodity, the higher the quantity supplied, and the lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied to the market when all other factors are held constant. So suppliers supply more when the prices are high. They supply less when the prices are low. So the law of supply curve can be illustrated by the supply curve, as you can see. As price increases, quantity supplied also increases. As price decreases, quantity supplied also decreases. Let's now look at the questions for today. That marks the end of our lesson, but before that, look at the following questions and answer them. Explain factors that may account for an increase in supply of a given product. Number 2, highlight circumstances under which the law of supply may not apply. Yeah, when we say the law of supply may not apply, you see the law of supply states higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied, and the lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied. So from that, can you give a scenario whereby it goes against that? I'm going to review with the quote of the day. The quote of the day says that in the business world, everyone is paid in 2 coins, cash and experience. So it's better to take the experience first, then cash will come later. Thank you for watching. See you next lesson. Thank you.